Oh, good. Okay.
So we'll try that out, and if it doesn't work, we'll throw this episode away. It never happened.
Okay. Never happened. We can. That'll be a consequence.
That'll be a consequence of being a couple professional audio engineers, you know?
Well, yeah. Yeah. I'll hold the microphone. Trust me.
That's a big deal. Uh, yeah, okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, we're recording. We started.
Congratulations on your first master's class. Tell me
First
about it.
master's
What is it
class.
like being back on this side of education?
Okay, it feels so good. I
Yeah.
thrived. Yeah,
Good.
I thrived in college. Just having someone tell me what to do and it being academic was really just it fuel for the fire for me. It's kind of like I like it when someone tells me what to do. That's why I think I do pretty well in a cult. Used for cults.
Okay. Good. Look, you and I have that in common. I love being an employee. I don't want to be in charge. I don't want to make those kinds of choices. I don't want to tell adults what to do. But like you tell me what to study, I will learn it.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah. Well, and right now it's just kind of a foundational course. I do wish it was a little bit more practical, if that makes sense. Like it's just like a big overview of the philosophies of leadership and what does it take to be a
Mhm.
good leader. And like a good leader is looking for results, but it's also servant minded. They're trying to serve the people who are following them. And I'm like,
Oh.
I learned that in youth group in 7th grade. So
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder. Like, is there enough content there for that to be a whole class? like, just leadership like that in general. Because I know it's going to be focused on administration. I assume it's getting
right.
narrowed down, right? Like it
Yes,
has to.
yeah, yeah. They'll go. We have 3 different like cohorts, and they'll like separate and do different types of classes, and they'll start to dig into more like, was that echo on me? Sorry. They'll start to dig more on to topics of like your local demographics, like you going and investigating your school or the place that you're doing a practicum at. So it's gonna bud here soon. It's just like this is us getting started, and
Okay.
you have the Karens in the chat who like don't know how to use a computer, and you're just like, let me just send a screenshot to all these people. Like I texted you
Right.
before this. I'm just like, man, there's just a bunch of nerds in here, and I am cheap among them.
Yes. Oh, then you got Gladys, and you're like Gladys. You got to mute your mic. What?
Luckily, we
You
live in
got
an
to mute
age
your
where you
mic.
can mute everyone's mic.
Oh, right. Well, yeah. I mean, you can do that if you run the whole thing. Is it just on a Zoom? Is that the idea?
It's Microsoft Teams. Ew.
Oh, people. I have heard so much about that, and I've never even seen that interface in action. Does it just look like everything else?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
All right.
It's all
Well,
right.
still though, at least you were able to do that. I mean, I don't know. That seems like a nice way to keep a summer with some kind of schedule.
Yeah. Oh, it's super good for me. I went through my whole like yesterday. I made like a month schedule and I made like a daily schedule and I budgeted. It was super. I don't know. There's something just satisfying about putting my ducks in a row. Especially
Yeah.
as a person who lives with ADHD and whatnot. Like having everything in its little slots feels really. It's like setting the world at ease. Not a lot of chaos.
No, and look, that's one of my favorite parts about summer is like the schedule of it all. To like wake up and read for a little bit and then go running and make a post about it and then make lunch, read a little bit more, make another post about something I can do cuz I'm treating that like a part-time job this summer. Like in a really diligent, thoughtful way, making sure that I'm creating at least a couple of posts a day. Today I even sat down and did some schoolwork, which I it's like the first week of summer, I know, but I have a syllabus I have to write for this public speaking class and they want like a day by day of what I'm going to be doing over like the 45 blocks before they'll approve this syllabus. I don't know. I mean, I have the units all planned out, of course. Like I have that, but I don't know on a day-to-day basis what that's going to look like for the needs of my students. I just got my roster for that class, 11 kids.
Oh, heck yeah. That's gonna be so
11 kids
fun.
in a public That's perfect for a public speaking class. I'm like, and it's everything from 10th graders to seniors. Like, I don't know. I see some of the names on that roster too. I'm like, you really took public speaking? Cool. Like, good
That's
for you guys.
exciting.
That's fun.
Uh,
Yeah. So I don't know. I did that for a while and sent the email off to the University of Colorado lady. So I'll probably have a meeting with her soon too.
cool. You should use ChatGPT to fill in all those little holes for the days that you're gonna be doing stuff.
Oh, I just got done. So my wife and I are going out tomorrow to watch the new Mission Impossible, but I hadn't seen the
Ooh.
most recent Mission Impossible, so we just watched that.
Okay,
We just
good.
watched that this afternoon.
I was gonna be like, you will be so lost. I already saw.
Yes.
My dad and I are big Mission Impossible fans, not because they're like film, like cinematography, like is so great. It's just because we
Yeah.
like action flicks, and we were like, what happened in the last one again? And it was we had kind of completely forgot, but we still went in and saw it. We had a good time, but we were like, oh yeah, this was happening.
Yeah. I mean, look, if there was ever something I should have watched before we talked about AI and Chat GPT, it is that movie. Because all here's what I want. I want that second one. I want them like just Ethan and like the whole gang to really just go for it and have AI to be like, I saw this all coming, and then it's like blow them up, and then that's the end of the series, and be like, that's the warning. That's the only way that message gets across. Because if he can defeat the AI, then we can defeat the AI. But we don't have Ethan, so we can't defeat the AI.
Um, we'll talk about the movie after you see it, cause
Oh, you saw
I
the new one?
yeah, I already saw the new one.
Oh, oh, oh.
We'll talk about it.
And then there's the guy, that Gabriel guy. I keep on calling him a robot man, and Mariah's like, he's not a robot. I'm like, no, he's definitely a robot. He is an
He
AI powered. He is an AI powered man. He is not a real person with real emotions. He is an AI man, a robot man. Much like he absolutely isn't. Stop calling him that. No, I've determined that he is. He has to be.
we will save our thoughts for the next episode. I cannot
I
wait to have
can't.
that discussion.
Oh
C
my god, I feel like the next episode's going to be Saturday morning.
C is for Mission Impossible.
Oh god. I don't. C is for conspiracy. C
C
is
is
for
for
the
conspiracy.
consequences. C is for the consequences of our actions. And
That's where we're
AI is
at.
one of those. AI is one of those things. When you made the script, you sent me something about malicious compliance, and you were referencing the Ten Commandments, I believe.
Oh
Or
yeah,
do we need to?
not the
I
movie
feel like
my mom used to watch every Easter, as she told me.
no. This so I treat your stories about teaching in Texas as a certain, I don't know, it's like one step between reality and fiction. Like right in between there is teaching in Texas. And so the Ten Commandment things is going down, huh?
It's going down, and like we're not even the first state to enact it. I think Governor Abbott um, just signed the bill. It came across his desk. He signed it. I mean, it's going to be challenged. The ACLU is just like, oh, we're all over this. We're gonna get it. We're gonna
Yeah.
take it to court. And I think Louisiana and Oklahoma have already like passed something, and it's already been challenged. It's something. It's crazy. Like it. Um, if I
Is
read it,
there
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
is there like a certain copy of it that like is publishable? Because I know, for instance, because a colleague of mine, they didn't get in trouble for it, but it was something that they were told. But like your flag has to be a certain size in your classroom, and so like their flag wasn't big enough for, I don't know if that's federal. I don't know what that is,
Oh my
but their
gosh.
flag wasn't big enough. So I'm wondering, like, is the Ten Commandments like a legitimate certain copy of it, or could you like just kind of put one all over the place?
So I think the only guidelines they have are it needs to be like the King James version, and it has to be a 16, at least a 16 by 21 poster size. Like,
That's pretty large.
yeah, yeah. But I was watching that video with Miss Pope, who's like a longtime TikTok mutual friend of mine. I used to look up to her and her numbers, and I'd be like, I'd never get to that level. And here we are a couple of years later. I'm like a little bit ahead of her. Not that it's a competition.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
look at you
still.
surpassing your heroes.
Yeah, yeah. Look at me. Look at me do that. Next one on the list is LeBron James.
Get there. I mean, that's only a few mil away.
Just a couple. Uh, but she talked about, and I can't remember. I'm blanking on the exact thing that she was talking about doing. but if you get it donated, you can um, like, well, essentially she was gonna put it up there for sure, but also put up the different other religious organizations and like non-religious organizations too, just like right up next to it, because there's nothing in the legislation that prohibits that. And she's just like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, but I'm also going to show you how silly this is by putting up everything else around it.
I mean, because in theory, then, right? Like you could have your like the King James 10 Commandments right there, and then right next to it have like the 10 crack commandments, like right next to it.
Yeah,
Like,
I made like a tweet or something that was like, I wonder. I don't think it even specifies, what the 10 Commandments technically are. I wonder if I could just make the adjustment, don't vape in the bathroom, kind of deal.
right, like just add stuff to it.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous thing. It's unenforceable,
Mhm.
unless it's like parents becoming secret polices and calling out their least favorite teachers for this little issue instead of like not teaching their kids to read. It's like, where's our priorities,
That sounds very likely, though. Like that sounds 100% like a thing that certainly would happen.
In Texas? No way.
Oh my
I
gosh.
shake
I
my
mean,
head.
look, people have been called out for less. You and I, okay. So I'm segueing here, but like I'm crossing off on my little post-it the things I want to cover. Um, I sent you a video of a guy, and we're not going to say his name mainly because I don't know it, but he is a guy who's a teacher. He appears to have enough followers to be able to monetize his content. And I think you and I both know that sometimes the quest for monetizing on TikTok can be something that like makes you want to go certain avenues with the things that you say that you probably shouldn't. And I think we've both been pretty good about reining that in and making sure, like, let's recognize the larger picture. For instance, I know that my school not only provides me a job that I love, first and foremost, like, it gives me a ton of joy. I'm not compromising that. But also, like, the paycheck, like, the reason I have this room around me has in part to do with that. Okay. So it's with those things in mind that this guy's a teacher and he has a child or children within a neighboring school district. So not the one he teaches in, but the one that he is local to. His wife got, and here, you want to know how I know it? Because he made this post about it and he was way too candid. Okay. So we're talking about consequences. I'm getting to that. This man made this very long post about how his wife got added to the group chat with all of the kindergarten moms. And he then proceeds to tell everything that is going on in this group chat and what these parents are saying about this kindergarten teacher. And he's painting them in a terrible light. And he's not trying not to, right? Like he's not, he's making sure you know that they're awful and they are the things they're saying are unwarranted and unreasonable. And they're like just insulting them. Not to say they don't deserve to be insulted,
Right,
but
right.
he's insulting them. He's then saying all of the things that they're saying about this teacher, who at the end of the video, he then says it's her first year teaching kindergarten. Okay. And that like she runs a really tight ship in her classroom. All right. So a buddy of mine sent me this post and he was like, "What do you think of this?" And I go, "Well, there's two really major issues." And he's like, "I don't see any issue with this. The guy's right." I'm like, "So that's an issue." Like, yeah. Is that man correct? Do I agree with every single thing he's saying? 100%, 1000%. Everything that guy is saying is completely correct. The two glaring issues are that number one, your kid has to go to school with those people's kids all the time. And you just blew them up on the internet. And you know as well as I do, once you get like five figures into like how many followers you have, people sort of know about it around you. Like they're sort of aware that, especially if you have kids, like, and they definitely talk about it. So he's clowning all of these parents that he's going to be around unless the man moves forever. Like you have 12 more years of these people and you just called them out on the internet and you didn't delete it. It's still there. But number two, Mikey, imagine that it is your first year teaching a certain grade, and there is some man on the internet that's like, all of the moms are insulting you all year long and saying how horrible and unfair and mean and uncaring you are all year long. And you hear about that the last week of school when this man made that post.
I don't know what I would do. I would, man, how do I say this and not get calls afterward? I would quit, and
Yeah.
I love my job, but it's just like, man, like, especially my first couple of years teaching, the inadequacy I felt every single day going to school, feeling like I'm not doing enough, because you don't get that immediate reaction or
Mhm.
the results or the data sets that are going to be satisfying, especially in like this day and age with like so many kids failing, and in kindergarten no less, where you don't really have testing data. Maybe you have like
Right.
concrete things of like they learn to tie their shoe, they learn single digit addition or something like that. Um, but either way, your first couple of years, you're just like constantly combating this feeling of inadequacy, and I can only imagine the resolve you need to stay to stay employed at that
And so
school.
and what the guy's trying to do is emphasize like no what he's really trying to make this he's trying to make the statement really broad like parents are the problem and all of the parents are saying and then all of these things they're saying about this poor teacher like I she teaches kindergarten and it sounds like if she runs a tight ship all that means is that these kids probably have standards
They
and her
have to.
classroom is probably as far as kindergarten classes go more at peace and productive than your run of the mill like kindergarten class but you framed it to try and insult these ladies in the group chat that I don't know when we talk about consequences like there are so many things that I have sat down to think about posting about. And then it's like, if I make this point though, who does that, who hears that? And what everything I post, I try to consider as much as my brain will allow me without the use of generative AI. Like, is there anybody that could take this video and turn it around and show it to me and be like, I can't believe you said that?
Right, you talked about like the principal coming, like telling you to come to their office and then turning a phone around and being like, "What does this mean?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's the exact fear I've always had." And like, like I've tried to carefully curate every single thing that I post to be like, okay, there's no like names in there. There's no identifying markers.
Mhm.
Maybe there's like a Texas flag or something, but I feel like
Sure.
Texas is big enough I can hide in it. It's like saying you teach in the U.S. Uh,
Yeah. It
I
is. It is.
if there's a story about a dude or a girl, I'm changing the gender, I'm changing the, words that they use so that I can be like, "Whoa, I didn't say that about them, I
Mhm.
said this about, you know, who even knows what's true." And
Yeah.
like I try to add as much description so that even the students don't really know who it's about, because students will tell parents and parents will tell administrators, and then you're in a shithole before you know it.
You absolutely yes, you are in so much trouble. And so when we talk about like this idea of consequences, I don't want it to ever seem like the stuff that I am saying on my paid whatever. None of it's not like it's manufactured. It's not like I'm lying about the spirit of
Mhm.
the thing that I am saying. I am telling a true story. But if you have to change variables to keep people's names out of it. Plus, I don't talk a whole lot of shit on the internet. So, like, I have that going for me too. But if you have to change the variables, then change it. And if you can't change the variables to get you one step beyond like anonymity for the people that you're talking about, you can't tell that story. But like, you just tattled on your wife. He tattled on his wife.
That's
That,
crazy.
oh,
Oh.
that sort of thing that stresses me out. I mean, we talked about the Velcro kids
Mhm.
and on like the consequences of those sorts of posts, but whew, I've never seen a guy just throw his wife under the bus like that. That's brutal.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever experienced a consequence in school, or like as a student, or as a person in your position as a teacher?
In terms of what, like from the things that I post, or just in general?
In general, I think we've covered like neither of us have really received repercussions. Like I've had some
Yeah.
randoms on TikTok like find my school somehow and call my principal, and then he'd be like, I saw the video and you're fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, what
I
stories
don't,
do you have?
as an educator, I don't know that I've ever done anything legitimately egregious enough to get myself reprimanded for. I mean, look, beyond misadministering the ACT. And we've talked about that. I wrote a number down wrong in the book. I invalidated a whole room. Like I made it. We talked about that on here, right?
I think we did. But
Yeah, I made it.
it's a common like fear with everyone who has to do standardized testing or
Yeah,
state testing. It's like, oh, I need to get everything right, or else these kids.
yeah. I
Yeah,
made a clerical error. I wrote a number down wrong. I invalidated those students. Like that's I got. Did I get reprimanded for that? Like, I mean, not in the way that I got in trouble, but more in a way where it's acknowledged you did this, and then I spoke to those students and was like, "Hey, you all got zeros." And then the beauty of it is, once I was finally ready to talk about it, I made the world's dumbest cap cut ever, thinking it was a trend, but really I had seen one isolated video of somebody doing something like that, and it got like 6 million views and made Yahoo News.
wait, is
So I
that
got
the check one? The one about?
no, not the checkbook one. I made a cap cut. If you are you on TikTok right now?
I can be. I
You
can be
don't have
whatever
to
you
be,
want me
but
to be.
no, you don't have to at all. It was just a it's a cap cut with like an Ava Max song or something. And I put the caption on it like I misadministered the ACT and invalidated 25% of a school and almost got fired. It's like one of the only cap cuts I've ever made. But it had like millions and millions and millions of views.
Oh,
And
like
then
just
Yahoo News picked it up. And so like then I was on their entertainment page and like all of my current bosses saw it and I was like, yeah, man, it happened. I've told this story at work. You know that, but it's me like giving a thought. Yeah, that's the one.
it's so funny. Dude, I also realized that you oh my gosh, it's so funny. People must
Um,
have hated you for that.
I did that like 8 years later in like in the bathroom at Sweet Cow, like the ice cream place. And I thought it was just like real funny. I thought it was a trend, and it was not a trend at that point. Like one person had done it. I just thought it was a thing.
Bro, you're almost I just took a look at that. You're almost at 100K.
I am.
And it's like
I am.
authentic numbers, like it's community based. You're getting like consistent views and stuff. That's like so cool.
It is.
I'm
It
so
is.
proud of you.
They are showing up. I'm doing my running. Like so, every summer I pick an album and then I run the whole thing and then I talk about it after. And last summer nobody watched them. Like I netted a loss following last summer. Nobody was interested, and I think it was my formatting. It was my own choice, not like how dare you not be into my fitness. But it wasn't good formatting. So I've switched it, and now I think I've done 6 of them, 6 days of summer. I've ran 6 albums, and people are watching them.
That's
One of them,
awesome.
there's like 30,000. Like people are watching me. I don't know, talk for a minute or so about these cool albums and why they're cool.
That's crazy. I'm so happy for you, man. That's a long time coming. And it's like I
It
like
feels good.
the organic.
I'm proud of it, and
Yeah,
that means a lot to say that.
it's I'm not, dude. It's impressive because it's like you can tell it's clearly an organic thing. It's not just following a trend or a fad. It's like I have a cadence that people enjoy. I have topics that people want to listen to. You know, you're basically the Casey Neistat, of TikTok.
I want to be the Casey Frey of TikTok.
The Casey Freya. Hey, I do the things he does. You watch your
That
face.
you do. We call this podcast. I'm just balling with the bros.
He is such a good dancer, and I feel like like it's not showcased enough because he's so goofy.
He's so damn funny. But I don't think that there's a video on the internet in the history of it that I have watched as many times as him and Nick Coletti when he's outside playing basketball and Casey Frey is his dad. You know the one I'm talking about. And he's like, "It's time to come in, son." And he's like, no, I can't. I'm just balling with the bros. And he
Yeah.
like shoots the air ball, and then they're just like dancing as they have like this real serious conversation. It is my favorite video ever on the internet. I love it so much.
He's such a he gets so much energy just watching his stuff.
He was on Abbott Elementary. I saw. I don't watch Abbott
Oh,
Elementary, but I saw that he was.
oh, I think I did see that too. Like he worked with
Yeah.
the rapper or something. Is that?
Oh, maybe.
I
It's a
don't know.
show. Do you watch it?
I watched like the first 2 seasons.
Do I need to watch it?
It's pretty funny. Uh,
Okay.
I just I just started Game of Thrones, so I'm committed.
I watched Game of Thrones, and I don't think this is a spoiler because you've never seen it?
I've never seen it. No.
Okay, there's an episode called The Red Wedding. You hear about the Red Wedding all the time. The Red Wedding is this episode that is like one of like the pinnacles of television. People loved it. They were talking about it forever. That is the last episode I ever watched, and I never went back. I felt like watching Game of Thrones was such a chore that I like all it was trying to do was like pay me in a way that The Wire had already paid me, and so I didn't need. I think The Wire is literature on television. Like it brilliant, like the best show ever. And I don't usually make statements of quality like that, but man, The Wire is flawless. Season 5 is kind of dicey, but like it's flawless. And so I watched Game of Thrones, and I was like, I just don't care. And I think the issue is I don't care about your problems because you're all rich.
Hmm.
And
That's
like
not
I'm not interested in that.
how I feel about real life. That's why I don't care about you or your problems because you're rich off these damn TikToks.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
I am kind of.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So if you want to know the trick, and for everybody that's listening, I'll tell you the trick too. If you were in the creator fund, that narrowed our pool down a little bit. If you were in the creator fund, you just need to make sure that you consistently include overlays in your posts. Okay. If you have a certain number of those, and I haven't landed on the magic one yet, I don't know if there's necessarily a magic one, but if you have a certain amount of overlays on your post, it will consider it to be especially sophisticated or like whatever of extreme. They have some
Really?
word about quality. Yeah, it's some word about quality. But in doing so, you then hit their bonus. And their bonus, like my RPM on average, is somewhere between usually 70 cents to 90 cents per thousand view. The bonus puts me up to $3 per thousand view usually. It's like an additional 200%. It is insane. And so some of these posts that you're watching of mine, if you notice there's a pattern of overlays, I've been hitting the bonus on all of those. And so I'm making like 3 times what I should be on almost all of my posts because of the overlay. Because it makes it, and I film in 4K, but like I don't know that how much that matters. I think it might. I think video quality does in fact matter.
Hmm.
But like, so for you, how you change your camera angles all the time, like that's the sort of thing too that'll move it. Because I've had some videos with no overlay, but I was moving around and it counted it for the bonus.
Interesting.
So yeah, and you'll know, like, there's and I can send you a screenshot, but like, it says how much you've made, and then underneath it in bright blue text, it says additional reward, and the additional reward is like 2 times the regular reward. It's
Yeah, I've
so
gotten
much
that
more.
before. C is for consequences of being a swagged out white boy like Mr. Rupp.
It turns out if you like your job, that sort of thing is things that people want to watch, and that is we can talk about consequences. That is a positive consequence. Really, the follower count that I have garnered is a positive consequence of a positive. I don't karma's fake. I'm not buying into that. But I do believe that people have gravitated towards the actual positivity I'm putting out in a measurable way. That is not spiritual.
I I would agree. I would agree. Karma
Um,
in the fact that it's just like a natural, you know, sequence of events that follows through.
yeah, like that. Yeah, that's what and I'm glad people are watching it. And
Yeah.
I'm really working on packaging a product together, and I know you are too. But like packaging a product together that is something people actually want to watch. That like demonstrates that I cared about it because I'm seeing I'm seeing a lot of teachers. I'm not saying other people aren't doing it too, where they seem to think that their story is interesting enough to not have to do anything with the way that they tell it or present it. And it's like that story is really good. It doesn't seem like you care about how you're telling it. So like
Mm.
without the audience, you're the consequences of not paying attention to your audience is that you hit that 300 view wall and your post is toast.
Ooh, got a
Ooh.
little assonance there.
Oh, that's just straight up rhyming. Um, Tell me about your experience. This is a hard shift, and we can find a way to segue this in consequences. But I want to talk about books. I've been reading a lot.
Segue away.
You Ready Player One.
Dude, so freaking good. I didn't think like I loved the movie. And now that I've read the book, I'm like, holy shit, this is so good. There's so many things that the movie doesn't do, and it would be so much better if it was like a 7-part series. And I know like there's like some debates on the internet of that kind of aspect of media ruining kind of television and like stories
Yeah,
being told. But Ready Player One, there's so much going on, and it would work so well as like a 7-part series. I
it.
firmly believe.
Look, Ready Player One is fun as hell. It's fun. I have fun every single time I read it. It is an adventure in a space where I had never read an adventure like that. And I thought that was so great. The biggest issue, like, I understand all of the licensing issues. Because if you've ever read, and I could send it to you, but like Ernie Klein, the guy that wrote it,
Hmm.
he wrote Ready Player One because he was a screenwriter. And he said that I want to not be burdened by the idea of thinking of this book as a movie. So I am going to make it I'm going to write it
Movieable.
as unmakeable of a movie as I can. Like we would
That's
never
so
get the
awesome.
we would never get clearances for these things. So I can just write from this space of like absolute freedom.
So
And then he
fun.
fucked around and got Spielberg to make the movie. And it's like, oh my God, can you even imagine? Like that's unreal. So making the movie in and of itself, you had Spielberg at the helm, so Spielberg's movies aren't in the movie, so like all those references get deleted. Um, but they did a real disservice to Dido and Shoto.
I know. Oh my god. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. And like, hey, I don't freaking care. And don't spoil past chapter 38, by the way, or chapter 37. I'm on 38. I just haven't had time to read it. That's a complicated story.
Where is he in 38? I think I know where 38.
Uh,
He's out of IOI by now, right?
yeah, he's out of IOI. They just cleared the Crystal Gate in
Yes.
Castle Anorak, and like he is doing
It's so
the game with the goes around in the circle. It reminds me of that.
adventure.
Not adventure. What is it?
What
Oh man, what is it? It's the
goes
one.
around in this circle?
Yeah, it's not adventure. I know I have it open in my tab. Tempest.
Oh yeah. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, yes.
Which like looking like I've been having to like look these things up to be like, what is this
Yeah.
game? And like looking at that, I'm like, kids play a game that's kind of like that now. I'm like, that's kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm at that part. He is kind of it's a race against time. No, he just got the game over. He just won, and that's where I had to stop. Uh,
Oh, so okay. Because he plays the Tempest, and then they do the part where he has to get the certain score to get the lives, right?
right.
And so, there's another thing after it, and then another thing, and then it's over.
But going back to Daito, I'm just like,
Yes. Oh my God.
they don't kill him in the movie. And I'm like, how do you not put that in there? How do you keep him alive and you don't put him in there? And like, how do you not get the rights to Ultraman? I'm like, there's so many things
Here,
that I'm like, what the heck?
I'm not big on calling stuff racist, but I'm gonna go ahead and
Oh,
put
and the
out
movie
there.
puts not them both as Japanese. He's Japanese and Shoto's Chinese in the movie, but their names come from a Japanese term.
And like in the movie, I remember watching it and being like, "Oh, these are just gonna be the flattest characters ever. Like they're gonna have zero dimension, and they're just gonna be like this sort of cartoonish like sidekick presence." And then at the end of that movie where they like whoop that guy's ass with karate, and it's like this. Come on, like because Shoto is dynamic. I think he is one of the more interesting characters in that entire thing as it's developed. Like I like what Ernie Klein was trying to do with eight, but I don't think that totally landed. I think it was just like a, hey, look how tolerant I am. It's like,
Yeah,
nope, yep, we got it.
it's
No, girl,
kind
yep,
of it kind of seemed like
girls
he
and
was trying to
lesbians can
do
be good at video games too.
yeah, it seemed like he was just kind of trying to do like a case study or like an allegory for like tolerance or you
Mhm.
know these things existing as social constructs and like you know you don't get mad when this person is pretending to be this person, but like if they're you know it's the gender fluidity of it all, the sexual orientation of it all, it's like those things are ultimately like all in our minds and like we can ultimately look past them and become friends.
Mhm.
And I think there's a
Yeah.
valuable lesson there, but it did feel kind of like you know like uh how do I want to say it? Like stale almost. It kind of felt
Yeah.
yeah. But I
I
don't
don't.
know.
Yeah. I mean,
Some people are gonna find value in that story, that part of the story being there. So like, good on them. You know.
I think there's something to that. I think having it as a reveal is sort of like that. I've never really enjoyed that part of things where like the big reveal is like the character was gay.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't. That seems maybe not like you could have always known who H was, and
hmm
Wade could have always known like H's physical. I don't know life outside of that. Like that could have been a thing that could have been a thing that Wade knew
hmm
about her. But I don't know. That's maybe being nitpicky, whatever. Because again, I still love the book. But Shoto and Dato and the idea that they're like these part of this like lost generation of kids that essentially has to be cared for, and like it's this like essentially mental illness, right? Like
Right.
it's like an offshoot of depression and agoraphobia,
hmm
and they were that is so interesting and it's so important and such a like an important global detail.
Yeah.
Like this book should be worldwide, and so you have that going on, and then it's like, well, we need it worldwide. Let's go ahead and make Samantha Canadian. Like, where are you, Vancouver? It's like,
Vancouver.
shut up. Okay. Woo, wow, we're so worldly. Like Samantha could have been anywhere. Vancouver, whatever.
And I like how much they put Moro in the book. Like
Mhm.
he kind of feels like this mystical type character, and you know I do like the portrayal, and I don't know I don't know how what I like better the way that he gets the one up the extra life in the book or the
I
movie.
love that. I love the one up. I thought that well, because there's moments in that book where I truly felt like Wade fucked. There is
hmm
no way,
Yeah, yeah,
like, and I mean it. I mean, like he. I don't think Ernie Klein's a great writer, but I think he wrote the depth of like Wade's sorrow when he wasn't when it was clear he wasn't. There's no shot he's gonna win. He's wasting all this time. Whenever anybody else was finding a key or opening a gate, I was like, oh my god. And then Wade's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go up to the top of the building and we're gonna call it a day. And it was like, man, I don't think you should do that, but I get why you think you should do that. And like I believed it.
yeah.
I felt those losses every damn time. But that fight scene going into Castle Anorak, and like we're nerding out here, but like this is when we talk about books, this is the kind of like Jake Rupp you're gonna get. That's so dope.
It's so fun. Like
Just them
even
lining up in their like bots and shit. Oh god.
he gets cut in
I
half, and you're like, oh my gosh, like how is he gonna get through this? I'm like,
Mhm. If
oh, it's so good.
there's only been so first of all, so you're gonna finish that, and then you're gonna feel sort of inclined to see what Ready Player Two is about. Um,
Don't.
I would encourage you to read it without a lot of high hopes because the pacing of that book is impossible. Like it's so many references and like and I get here's the beauty of it. Like that those books are made for me. I understood them all.
Yeah.
But like it the pacing of it's brutal. But Hank Green wrote a book. He wrote well, he's written several books, but Hank Green has a book called A Truly Remarkable Thing. and that is the only book since Ready Player One that has given me the same feeling Ready Player One gave me.
Really?
Yup.
Okay, I'm gonna have
A
to.
truly remarkable thing. It is fucking awesome. It is awesome.
Is it
And then
fiction?
it's a 2-book series. I thought the second book was solid. Like I wasn't mad about it or the way that it concluded, but that first book, like, really kind of special to me. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So that's worth your time. There's no consequences to that, except that listening to my recommendations will result in you also having great taste when you take them and claim them as your own and recommend them to others.
I love that consequence for me. It's been really a fun read. So the journey has been, so I like travel from my place to Houston a lot, and I have Spotify and it gives me the audiobook, so I've just been listening to it a lot. And what happened on Sunday, I'm like mid drive and it's like chapter 35. You Spotify has reached its limit of chapters for the month, and I'm like, what? This is I pay money to have this.
I would flip my shit. Especially Will Wheaton does the audiobook, doesn't he?
He does, and like when he references
Yeah.
himself, I'm just like, oh, he must be like
Is he
smiling
president?
right
Him
now.
and Cory Doctorow?
Yeah.
Cory Doctorow has some books too that I would recommend with some caveats, but I have some Cory Doctorow on my list too, like that I give to my students for certain things. But he has some bangers.
Yeah. I would love. Speaking of that, I would love. Like, I started reading this, and I was like, "Oh man, if I could just give this like a PG version, PG-13 version of this." It basically is a PG-13, but I just know, like, if I could read this with my kids, I know that they'd be into it, you know.
Yeah.
And then like we'd watch the movie, and they'd be into that too, and they'd be like, "Oh, it's like sorrowful because it doesn't show Daito's death. Daito and Shoto are kind of a shadow of who they are in the book, and there are so many like like the little parts of finding the key and then getting going to the gate and solving these puzzles, and you can really feel the frustration, and it doesn't really feel like he ever gets frustrated in the movie. Like, it just kind of falls into his lap.
100%. It's a hard. I have students that read it, but it takes a special kind of kid in 2025 to read it because it is so illusion heavy that like it is outside the realm of students even knowing where to look for the information that, like, they don't even know what questions to ask. So when he's talking about all the TV shows that he's watched, for instance, like, students don't know anything about a 23 episode television. Like they don't know anything about that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they don't know about the idea of things being like events to watch them or to see them. And like there's only certain like pockets of time where you could like hear certain kinds of music unless you bought the album, and like they just don't have the frame of reference. They don't even know what to ask. And so it's a tough one to teach because of that.
I mean, you say that, but like my kids really got into The Outsiders this year. I'm like, okay, like that's great.
Yeah. I think Ernie Klein relies more on the power of nostalgia
yeah.
than like
that's
because
fair.
that's why that book works so well on me. I am a simple man. I'm a simple man, no inner monologue, and so I just read these books and I get myself lost.
With no inner monologue. What? Besides that post, what was the other post that was making people angry at you?
That post, I don't think it's making people angry at me. I think it's making people angry in general, and they keep on calling me an NPC. like, oh, you're the guy that's in traffic in the other cars. That's so rude. But yeah, I mean, I guess I am. I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty peaceful. The other one had to do with that stupid ass trend of parents being like the massive amounts of absences, missing assignments, and tardies their kid had, but still graduating. And I took issue not with the kids, of course, because like never. I don't do that. I don't believe that. But like you're advertising that your kid didn't earn a diploma. That's the way you're saying it. And so whatever your purpose is at the end of it, you're insulting your kid.
Right.
And then there's like proud mama here. I'm just proud of my kid for making it. Okay, so I'm saying that these posts with no context are insulting.
Yeah,
You're
to
now
the
in here.
kid.
You're now in here adding context to a post you didn't make, by the way, but like adding context like I'm talking to you. And that's literally the thing that I am saying is that these posts don't have context, so they're insulting. And if you add context, then they're not insulting anymore. Like it's just a joke. Okay, that's true. It's also insulting.
There's like a taste.
You're not gonna make this wrong. It is. It absolutely is. Well, that's not how I read it. That's how I read it. That's
Right.
how it's read. That is how it is read.
There's like a taste of it where it's acknowledging like, yeah, my kid wasn't actually good enough to make it, but they did. And it's like, how are you proud of, like, what do you mean? Like, you were saying that your kid didn't pass except for by, some technicality or mercy, that a teacher showed along the way. You're saying they were not good enough for that. And it's like, why
If your kid
are
is,
you publishing that for the world to see?
no matter the reason, if your kid's missing that much school and they're that behind on the work when they were there, your kid is stressed all the way the fuck out. No matter, like they're more stressed. That is a problem. And so, regardless of whether they earned it or not, that's not even necessarily the conversation. The conversation is you are diminishing the accomplishment and the things that your kid did on this unseen side by being like, they had 1,000 tardies. Okay, cool. And I don't know. There was somebody else who made a post, and I appreciated this one. I really appreciated this one, and I would never have the balls to make it, but I'm glad that she did because she was like, she was responding to the same trend, and her point was, maybe those kids are showing up late or not coming because the amount of teachers that are on TikTok making fun of them as soon as they leave. And maybe the reason they're not doing the assignments is because you have teachers on TikTok outright advertising that they are trying to waste a kid's time by giving work as punishment. She goes, and like, not every kid necessarily sees those posts, but let's just go ahead and make it real clear that all this like cutesy insulting and roasting that you are doing of the profession and the kids that are in your classroom has consequences. I did not mean for that to be a segue, but here we are.
Yes, I do have a hard time believing that most kids feel any type of way about a teacher making a post, but there are those kids that do. I think kids are pretty resilient, but I do think there's plenty of kids that tell horror stories about a teacher saying this or that thing that ultimately affected them in the long run, and making videos insulting your kids is doing that exact thing.
Making a brand out of it. And this is a thing. Go back to we've talked about this in most episodes. Making a brand out of it with like a lip sync of something like, whoo. Your kids are gonna see that. And what are you gonna like? It's a joke. You only have the one joke then that you just make over and over in different, like really creative, clever ways, almost like you really believe it. Is that the joke? That's mean.
I'm surrounded by idiots. Yeah, no shit. You're teaching like people who don't know things. It's your job to teach them those things.
It's the same thing. I had this student years ago, and her name is so identifying that I can't even like think of an alternative. So whatever. But she was in a class of mine, and she might have been. I don't know how deliberate her meanness was. Like as a 10th grader, like I don't think she's necessarily a mean person, but she was a mean 10th grader, and she would say it was the same like verbal pattern every time, where she would say the meanest thing ever, and then say, "I'm kidding," so fast afterwards. We're like, I remember I got a haircut one day and I came in. She's like, "Oh my god, your haircut is hideous." Just kidding. I was like,
part of me feels like you're not kidding.
Yeah, this assignment's a waste of time. Just kidding.
What a fascinating quirk.
Oh man, this is really. But you do it to everybody. Just kidding. Ollie, that. Whew. But again, I don't know. When I see those posts, I think of this. I like hear her in my head at the end, being like, "Just kidding."
Hmm. Except you
Stone face.
posted it
Just
for everyone
kidding.
to see.
Yeah, that is. I don't know. That part's tough. Okay. You. I'm really kind of pumped that you put MGK
I knew
switching
you would
genres as
be.
being a consequence
I don't know
of
how much I really want to talk about it. I was just like, oh, he'll get a kick out of this. He's a rap guy. He likes rap.
I
And
I can talk about I could you want me to give a
have you
filibuster about it? Because I absolutely could.
have you listened to the new MGK song? Let's start there. Cliche.
I have heard enough of it to know I didn't need to hear anymore.
Bro,
Um
oh man, it's not good.
he's really good at making money. Like
Yeah, I
I want to
guess.
be pretty clear about that. He's excellent at making sure that when he drops his brand of mediocre music, that people are talking about it all the time, and I cannot be mad about that. I also saw a video of these two guys that went to him that went to his concert and held a big sign that said, "You need to change your name." And he stopped in the concert to like talk to them, and they're like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "You need to get rid of the machine gun and Machine Gun Kelly because it promotes violence." And he's like, "So what?" And like, this is at a concert. He's like, "So what should I call myself?" They're like, "Just Kelly would be fine."
Just Kelly.
Just Kelly. Like, take the machine gun out of your name.
Yeah, what does the machine gun stand for? Is it just like
Machine Gun
because I
Kelly was a
rap
gangster.
fast?
Machine Gun Kelly was a gangster, and so he took the name from that.
He
Like
just
he was a
stole someone
mobster.
else's name?
Yeah, like a mobster.
Like, I'm stealing moonshine. They
Yeah. Like old timey Tommy gun style. Machine Gun Kelly was a mobster.
Oh, you're right. Wow.
I know. You're the only one who didn't know that I
That's
was
true.
right of the two of us.
He died in Texas. His
Hey,
name was Machine Gun Kelly, and Pop Gun Kelly. Lived in
yeah, I
Tennessee,
mean it's the
died
same
in
way. Like
Texas.
I don't know. I still appreciate. I don't know if it's still up, but like I'm sure you know this. But Childish Gambino got like Donald Glover got his rap name from a Wu Tang name generator,
Yeah, I know that one.
and that one was still up. So like it was the same one. So if you typed in Donald Glover, it would still spit out Childish
Childish
Gambino.
Gambino. That's sick. That's sick.
Yeah, that's like an internet relic. I love stuff like that.
That's so fun.
Um, I do appreciate the idea that we're giving Eminem credit for like Machine Gun Kelly's failures, I suppose, when in reality, I think a lot of Machine Gun Kelly's success comes from the fact that those conversations start with the fact that Eminem ruined him. And like if Eminem hadn't ruined him, I don't think he would be as successful. Does that make sense? Like
Uh, I don't
Machine Gun
know
Kelly
about
wasn't
that.
his Machine Gun Kelly's rap numbers were low, low. He was not super popular. Like he was probably making middle class money, but he wasn't like massive. And then again, he shot his shot at Eminem. Why Eminem decided to respond back? I don't know.
He's like, never mind.
Eminem's
He's
always
six
been
foot four. This dude is a
yeah.
lanky little dude. Tall guy. Tall fella.
I don't know. I don't know that I've ever listened to a full Machine Gun Kelly rap song ever. I don't think I have that in my bag. But I like some of his pop music. I won't lie. Like when it was on the radio, I didn't turn it off. Didn't he have that song with Halsey?
I don't doubt it. I know he had that one with Will Smith's kid,
Jaden or Willow?
Willow. Right?
I don't know. Didn't he have
Emo
that one
girl.
with Black Bear? Didn't he have that one with Black Bear too?
Listen, we could probably just keep going on and on with people he's.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how memorable it is. But again, those were radio hits. Like the guy did okay, but Eminem definitely ruined him.
Oh yeah, Black Bear. Yep, you're right.
Yep.
Cliche. Cliche is the new one. What do we think?
Oh,
He has a whole dance to it.
here's the thing: is I think some people get away with making shitty art when they make it under the guise of being like, no, this is shitty and that is the art. Like, if you make a song called Cliche and it's cliche and then people criticize it for being unoriginal and ununique, and then you're like, no,
That
that's
was
the
the
point.
vision. You don't understand. It's bad on purpose.
That's not art.
Pablo.
That's not artistic.
I'm freaking
But
Pablo
people fall
Picasso
for it
over
all the
here.
time.
Or
It's the same as like taping a banana to the wall and being like 4 mil, and people are like, I see the vision.
I see the vision. Okay,
I
well,
see the
how do
vision.
you feel about Jackson Pollock?
I don't. I
Ooh,
don't get that. I don't get it. How
maybe.
do you feel?
Why are you
I
supposed
mean,
to get it? Supposed to like, you know, experience it.
I'm yeah, and that's where I maybe stop. I'll experience it and then I'll stop, and then other people will pay a lot of money for it, and then I'll be critical. Like that just I don't know. That I feel that's the kind of art that I think can be duplicated really effortlessly.
Mm.
And so that diminishes the value a little bit. Like I think most people could make those,
They couldn't
right?
get drunk and depressed like he could.
Well, but tell me, like, you look at one of those paintings and like, would anybody? So let's say it's like Jackson Pollock's coming out with these new paintings, right? They're brand new, and so we're going to the gallery open, and we're there. Would anybody be able to tell if he had gone through and hanged all of those paintings upside down?
Good point. That's a good point. I'm not a critic.
You know,
Yeah.
like you wouldn't even because I don't know what I'm trying to articulate. Like there wouldn't be a frame of reference. You wouldn't even know because it feels so undeliberate. And if I swear to God, if the argument back was like, no,
That's
that's
how
the
you're supposed to
beauty of it.
feel. Yeah.
Yeah, like no, shut. He's got you all in the bag, and I love that. Good for him. Good for him. But I'm that's silly.
Yeah, I
Um,
know like my surface level, knowledge of art is like some of that is iconoclastic. Like it's yeah, I'm
hmm,
fighting the system. Like it's not good on purpose.
yeah.
I think there's a place for that, but also like uh yeah. I get what you're saying.
Because even then, like if you try to think of a music like a parallel in music, I think the closest thing you're probably going to get to it would be like gritty, like 80s punk music, right? When it was like guys that could hardly play their instruments and a dude that couldn't sing and he was just screaming in like brutally unpoetic lyrics, but it was still more like there was still a certain composition to it, at least. I don't know. And it was making a point in like a really deliberate way. Like not everybody could make punk music that people would listen to. Like there had to be something, some other X factor.
Listen, we're reaching past my limit of being able to judge art. I am like,
Well, you
yep.
have a micro. You have a
I have a mic.
microphone.
You know
You
what?
could.
I can tell you what's right and wrong. And Jackson Pollock is right. He
Okay.
might.
Well, then
Yeah,
then I accept that.
yeah.
Um, have you? Okay, I want to go back to this because you asked me, which means I want to ask you. Have you ever been like reprimanded, like gotten in trouble at work?
At work,
Yeah.
not to my knowledge, I'm pretty goody two shoes, and like, I hear stories about some of my coworkers and some of my past coworkers doing things that I'm just like, holy shit, that's like an HR
Mhm.
violation, and you still keep your job, and
Yeah.
like I don't know why I worry so much about like, oh, I didn't get this paper in on time sometimes. Like that's the kind of thing that I mess up is like, oh, I forgot to sign up on this paper a month ago and someone was like, oh, I was going through paperwork. I'm like, shit, I'm going to get fired. But
I
but there are so many things going on in every school that I've worked in behind the scenes where I'm just like,
Mhm.
there is no like people laugh at how serious I take those things and like fear the consequences of those things.
I was like that for a long time, and I think I'm finally when I say like that, I mean I think I brought myself down to a space it's not like I don't care, but I brought myself to something where I'm just not worried about it. Like I'm just not. I don't know. If I have a lot of emails, sometimes I might just mark them all as read, and then maybe see what happens if
See,
there's any follow up. And like, okay, then I missed an email, and I did. I missed an email because I couldn't deal with them all, and it was too much. And so, like, whatever. And that's my fault. I'm not saying that was the right thing to do, but we'll see if that is something that I'm held accountable for, and if so, then I will take my accountability. Like, that's on me. But I don't know. I can't be as worried as I used to be all the time. I was so worried about getting in trouble.
right, right. And I think I've finally found the limit. There's this
Yeah.
school down the street from me, and this might, if people do their digging, they can find out, about where I live or teach.
Yeah.
Um, they got in a teacher got in trouble for having their students bear crawl a mile on a track in May in Texas. There are second and third degree burns on these kids' hands, and they're like 6th or 7th graders. And I'm like,
Did that make news?
that
Is that?
yes, yeah, that made news. I mean, he got fired.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He should get arrested. Like you're probably facing charges, right? Like you.
it's crazy. But I read that and I'm like, okay, that might be the limit, okay? Because
Right, like me forgetting to fill out my like checkout form, like me forgetting to stack my chairs before I leave my classroom is not quite on the same thing as like abuse. Wow.
maybe abuse is the
Terrible.
limit.
I'm surprised, and not just. I'm surprised that it was a guy that did that.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I'm surprised nobody showed up and beat his ass. I'm not saying they should have. I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Especially in
Um.
Texas.
No
Where it's
joke.
what is, I can't remember the term, but there's like a legal term where it's like consensual fighting. It's like if both parties agree that, you want to run
Not
one,
really.
it's
Not
legal.
possible.
No, there's a
Consensual fighting.
I don't know what it's called. It's like where both parties they agree like they can legally fight and no one gets in trouble. It's just like, yeah, that's how it goes as long as no one dies.
Consensual fighting. Okay, I typed in consensual fighting, and the thing that came up was legal in Texas and legal in Canada. Mutual combat.
Mutual
Mutual
combat.
combat.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's such a sick legislative term. Let's just run that real quick. Mutual combat. So what I'm saying is come to Texas and it's on. We're gonna
Okay,
mutual combat.
can you please? I want you to Google. I want you to Google this right now. So Google is consensual fighting legal in Texas, and then I want you to see this webpage, and then under the link, and everybody, I'm going to encourage you to do the same thing. Okay, so under the AI overview, there is Mark Diaz and Associates. Do you see that one?
I don't. I see a law office of Nathaniel Patoric. Said Mark
You don't see
Diaz.
Mark Diaz
No.
Associates? Is consensual fighting legal in Texas? Takes me to Mark Diaz and Associates.
Okay,
This
I
is
found
Texas.
it.
Okay, look at the background on this page. It's, for those of you that are not watching this with us right now, it's just two fucking like tanks
Oh,
each other on top of rocks with like an ink pen in between them. Do you see the ink pen bridge?
I do see the ink pen bridge. I'm kind of wondering, uh, is this
This is Galveston.
AI? This is Galveston. Shut up.
That's Galveston. It's blue text. It's Galveston. Oh my god.
That's so awesome. What is the mutual combat law in Texas? By Mark Diaz, 2023.
Oh my god. That's so good. That makes me so
He
happy.
is a Galveston lawyer. Is that what you were saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, makes perfect sense.
I would never lie about Galveston, Texas.
Wait, so we gotta figure out what this is so we can get in fights. Other assaulted parties that could result in a third-degree felony are public servants, government employees.
Perfect.
Oh, dude. So what? Freaking no dueling anymore? What is this? Communist China?
Are you up on Ray, the right wing
Oh my god.
influencer who said he would fight anyone?
I really wish I wasn't. I go back and watch those and I'm like, I hate every part of this.
Yeah.
I hate that he gets attention from it, but it's just like, I need to know. I want him to be angry so bad. I want him to be sad or something, which is kind of wrong of me, but also it's just like there the fact that he goes from all these left-wing liberal pink-haired
Yeah.
hairy women don't I challenge all you guys to a fight. And they're like,
Except you.
he's like, well, like everyone knows when you challenge someone to a fight, you gotta be in their weight class. I'm not gonna fight
Right.
Thor and Bradley or anything.
Yeah. Or like even then, what's the other Good Trouble or whatever
Good
that guy's
trouble.
name is? He's like,
Yeah.
I'll do it. Like
He
I'll do it.
he's
That
like
sounds great.
5'7" or something. He's just like freaking
Yeah.
jacked.
Yeah. I talk about here's the thing. I don't think there's a lot of consequences to that. And I think that's almost the point. Is you had a guy making a post that's like liberals aren't good, they don't experience consequences. I'll spar them right now. And then he's like, actually, I won't because I'll get wrecked by everyone that has taken me up on this, even though I said I'd do it. And what are the consequences? His posts are monetized.
Yeah.
Like, because no one's going to go fight him. Like,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. And so he now doesn't have consequences for doing the exact thing he was saying other people were doing, and he would issue those consequences to them. It is an incredible cycle of not having any sort of like retribution available for you. That's unreal.
For my lawyers, this is a joke, but for Ray, come to Texas. We'll have a consensual fight. I'm 6'3"
You're too
though,
tall.
so yeah, I'm too tall.
I think I'm probably the right height. I probably weigh too much. I'm 5'10", like 200.
No, you're too hairy, so
Right. Well, if I needed to go down a weight class, I could bust out the Clippers.
I'm still giggling over this freaking banner on this guy's page of the
So
tanks.
good. It's you.
What does it mean? You want to talk about art? You want to talk about art? Mark Diaz's banner on mutual combat laws.
AI could never.
I wonder if AI did though. No, this is in 2023. There's no. I mean, AI didn't exist in 2023.
No. Okay. What are we at for time? Because I have one more thing.
Oh. We're at like an hour 7-ish.
Okay. Do you have? Okay. Oh, well, I have one thing, and then the rest are your things. I'll do mine first. Do you have anything? I do this at the end of every school year, where I think of the things that I want to do better the next school year, or like things that I want to change, either about like actual technical practices or like the way I carry myself or whatever it is. So, like for instance, last year I piloted. When I say I pilot, I mean for me. Other teachers had done it before, but I had implemented this system where I wasn't issuing points for students, and I didn't like the way that it was balancing out at the end, the way that students were asserting grades. And so, like, I switched to. I said I'm going to implement these rubrics, but the points from the rubrics are actually going to go into the grade book. Like that's going to be something that I want to make sure that I do. That I wanted to try and stop saying yes to every time I was offered to do something at work that would give me some kind of stipend. Like
I have
need
too much money, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I need to really though. Like I need to stop chasing all of these things because it's too many things. I was doing too many things. I got my course load for this year. I have 100 less students per semester than I had last year.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Like that feels good, but that was a thing that I really wanted to make sure I did last year, and now I'm reaping the benefits of it. So like, do you have anything for this upcoming school year that you've already been thinking about changing or doing more of?
Yeah. Just keep looking at this banner on Mark Diaz's page, and then I saw this little title for his name. It says he's an assault lawyer. And I get like what that means, but also I was thinking like assault as in like, war. Uh sorry. Things I'm
So
looking
good.
forward to. So I've
Or
got a
things you want to change or whatever.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, things I'm
I
wanting
said
to change.
goals.
Sorry, yeah. So I have taken inventory like literally every second of every day about how my life is going to look here in the next year. So I graduate my master's program if everything goes right in the fall, and
In the
uh,
fall of 2026.
yes, yeah. Oh my
Okay.
God, yeah.
I was
I'm
like,
doing
damn.
everything in the summer. It's crazy.
I was
No.
like, damn. I was like, your degree might not be real.
uh, it's really quick.
Yeah.
So I know that I have. So I'm taking 2 courses right now. I'm gonna have 3 courses in the like fall winter. I'm gonna have 4 courses next spring, and then like one like final capstone thing in the summer next year, and it should be done by then. Um, and then I'm also doing department head stuff, and I'm gonna have to internship for my school. So I just feel like if there's any sort of way I can cut down on things, this kind of sounds shitty, but one of the things that I learned that I do to go above and beyond is like, make. I say it's above and beyond, but now I realize I shouldn't have said that because it should be like the norm according to, students' IEPs and stuff.
Mhm.
But like the materials that I get, and we talked about it before with the curriculum episode, don't have accommodations that fit where my kids are at. Because I teach
Mhm.
like what's a foundations course, so these kids are testing low, they're behind, they're below grade level, and a lot of them have IEP needs. They have um, like a lot of it is like they need extra notes, they need guided notes, they need like these things that I need to spend time on. So I'm wondering, like I made all those notes this year, and that's going to be helpful for next year. I'm not going to have to spend time doing that, which praise the lamb. Um, but I know we're also adding a few things on, so I'm like, you know, kind of nervous about doing that kind of thing, and I'm wondering how I'm going to negotiate my time with that.
Man. So what you're saying is essentially taking the materials that you already have and reworking them to make them more accessible for your students as you deliver them,
Right, and I know that that's going to be time
while doing all
consuming
of the
while
other
doing
things in
all
your
the
life.
other things. And, if only there was some sort of robot that could do it for me.
Oh, there's the one attacking Roku City.
We'll get him.
Um, honestly, you try to run that through the robots, and I'm not. There's not a joke here. Like if you run that through the robots, I'd be interested to see to what extent that can make those things for you.
Hmm.
Like really, I mean, if it's a matter of taking materials and accommodating them, that's I don't know. I don't necessarily. Not like you're seeking my approval, but that seems like the sort of thing that generative AI would be really useful for,
Yeah.
like on a large scale thing, and then you can at least it gives you a space to then revise it, right? Instead of
Hmm.
you doing the whole overhaul, it can do the overhaul and then you can make it the presentable polished thing,
Yeah.
I would think. And then you could that sounds awesome, and then you can revisit it once you're out of this program and
Hmm.
like continue to improve that. Once you're out of this program though, you'll be an administrator, so essentially what you're trying to do is like, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but you're putting a band-aid on a situation while you're holding your space as a teacher before you become someone that's in charge. So I mean, because if you were going to be somebody that's going to be teaching for a really long time, then I'd say like maybe you want to put in this work and
Yeah.
like make that fit yourself right now. Like that's probably something you want to do. But that's not necessarily in the cards. So that doesn't seem like a useful place to be real stressed in making that, I wouldn't think.
Yeah. I don't know. I get stressed out pretty easily. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think trying to mediate ways to cut back on my personal time and finding out ways to adapt the material with what I have instead of trying to make
Hmm.
new things, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
I'm just gonna like put something out there, and I don't know what this will look like in where you, but I have an excellent friend who was an excellent teacher. She doesn't teach anymore.
She's not a good
But
teacher anymore.
she's not a good teacher
She
anymore.
was a good teacher. She's not anymore. She's
Yeah, that's
terrible.
correct. That she used to be a good teacher, but she would always like whenever I was talking to her about the things I wanted to do. Her first response almost every single time was like, "Well, can the kids do that?" Right? Like, why are you
Mm.
doing that? Why can't the kids do that? So if it was like, I want to create some kind of project where, I don't know, students are taking the text and adapting it into a movie. And then she's like, so I want them to like go through and write a script or whatever. And
Yeah.
so she's like, well,
I
can
had
they find like what like can they find scripts that they're interested in, and then they can find the materials,
mm,
and then you can do the instruction, but like they find it. Well, I mean, I fuck it. Yeah, yeah. And then it's like, okay, I need to make this template then, so they know how to write it. And they're like, can they make the template and then fill it in? Like, why can't they do that?
right.
Well, I don't know.
No, I'm
And it was
hearing
like,
I'm hearing you say that. I'm also thinking about like the way you have them grade each other. I'm like, it takes a
yeah,
lot of effort to adapt rubrics and like modify rubrics for these kids. But it's like, what if they made their own rubrics and it
yeah,
aligned with the standards and they realized what standards they were learning? And it's kind of like,
right.
well,
Or I can give you the standards, and then I'm going to have you go through and find the verbs and subjects in each one of those. What is it asking you to do? What's it asking you to do it to? And so now you have those things. So now you go through your work, and where are you doing that thing to that other thing, and that becomes your evidence, right? I don't have to, and I can still clear it up. Like this assignment fits in these ones, but you need to sort out how. Like
right,
I can help make that not such a tedious thing, but once it got into my head like, well, why can't the students do that? It just became the way that I planned everything. Why can't they? They'd
mm-hmm.
get more out of it.
Hmm.
And it's not like I'm going to give them more work now. Like they're going to plan the work and then do it. Like all that stuff moderates in. I still only have 45 blocks.
Yeah,
So now it's just become a different focus, and now they're doing work that's way more thoughtful with
right.
way more ownership, and I'm more proud of it, and I think they're learning more because it's like it's creating inquiry.
You've given me something to think about. That's a
I hope.
high level Bloom's question right there.
Oh, did I just scaffold the shit out of it? Did I make you remember your why, Mikey?
That was literally the first question they asked in this first class. And I was like, oh my
No,
god.
that's I've never been in a place where anyone has said that unironically. Like
Really?
I've never experienced that in my life, and I'm so glad because I hear it and it's like, man, that just like is so patronizing. I feel like maybe not in the program that you're in, right? But like if my boss said it, God, that would just like remember my. I know my. How dare you?
Yeah, it's
How
like
dare you
I'm
make
here, aren't I? There's this
I'd be
question.
so mad. That would make me so mad.
Dude,
Oh,
I was so tempted to just be like, dude, it was like, what's your why for becoming a principal? And I was like, the money? I was going to type that in the chat. Uh, but I'm just like,
what's wrong with that?
if I feel like I need to test the waters first, like you start being like the notable good guy in the group and being like, all
Mhm.
right, here's how you like for Karen who can't figure this thing out, I'll be like, oh, here's a screenshot, this is how you figure this out, and also be like, uh, my signature or my name or whatever is like Cash Money Mike, follow me on TikTok or
You're gonna,
or like we
are you one of those TikTok? Are you one of those TikTokers? And then like the funny thing is like you so are.
yeah, or like I send I'm gonna start sending. They made a group me. I'm gonna start sending your videos in the chat. Just to be like, hey, this guy is like, what do you think about this guy?
Oh my god, Mikey, you tell me what message you need put out into it, and I will fully make those posts. Oh my god, that's so good.
That would be such a
That
fun
makes me
bit.
that's I I'm like role playing, like fan fictioning this idea of you mentioning that you're on TikTok and them going through like the very base things they know about TikTok, like, oh, what do you dance on there? And then being like, well,
Yeah,
yup, yup.
I
And a
do.
250,000 people like it. 250,000 people are like, hell yeah.
At some point, yes, 250,000 people did.
Yes. That's a lot, man. Millions. Oh, that's so good. I
But
love that.
speaking of consequences, how much trouble do you think I would get in if I, sent memes and was trying to be funny during these webinar conferences?
When I went back to get my master's, at that point I had 2 kids, and they were young, like, they were both under 3. But I went back, and a majority of the people in my master's program were and
Really?
they were fresh off of an undergrad, and then they were going back, and it's like, why the hell would you get a master's in rhetoric? And they're like, so I can get a PhD. To do what? Like, what is the what are you going to do with this? Like, I have a concrete goal. I know exactly what I can use this for immediately, and how it like improves me monetarily as well as intellectually. Like, I have those things. um and I just remember being almost completely anonymous in every course that I took. I didn't really engage with anybody. I did the work. I made sure that I had enough of a relationship with a professor to seek feedback and clarifying questions just in case I needed anything in terms of like extensions or whatever. Because again, little kids, I was driving from my place to Denver once or twice a week. That's like an hour each
That's
way. And
crazy.
like it was like I was just doing a lot. And so I don't know. I did not want to be the personality guy on the discussion board.
I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna send a Discord link and be like, if anyone wants to join the real chat, click this link. This is a safe space.
Oh my
We're
god,
gonna play
we cuss in
Minecraft together.
we cuss in here.
We
You guys want
cussing
to do a
here.
happy hour? You guys want to do a happy
Oh,
hour?
ew. Ew, the consequences of that, man. Ugh.
Uh, uh, yeah. I don't know.
Virtual
What were
happy hour.
Yeah, right? Okay, I think that's a good goal, Mikey. I like that a lot. And I think
Be the silly
I don't know. I
goofball in my master's program.
being a silly goofball, meeting your future wife in your admin program, and also creating a more not a more inclusive space for your students in like a really thoughtful way. Like, again, improvement is good.
Hmm.
It's not like solving the problem is the actual goal every moment all the time. That's what I think.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
Okay.
All right.
Are we done? Okay. What were the things you wanted to talk about? What did
Uh,
you have? Or are we out
all
of time?
No, I mean we're like an hour 20, so it'll be good. I was gonna bring
Okay.
up the. Have you been watching the Brendan Abernathy thing of the guy singing "You'll be married in a year in the
Ma-
summer"
Male audition male
for
vocal audition
American
people.
Idol? Yeah.
Yes. He
Uh,
seems like a really nice guy.
no, like genuinely, I listened to his album as I was writing my paper today, and like it's not
And
bad. It's just it's good. Like it's not bad at all.
oh,
And he like
okay.
I did a little rabbit hole on him.
Hmm.
So he's what I know as a Young Life camp singer. So
Yeah.
like I used to do this ministry called Young Life where you would
Yeah, I know
go.
Young Life.
Okay,
We had
cool.
that.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're in Colorado. Yeah. There's
But
like
we had it in Washington too. Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. So I was big into it in high school, and I was a leader for like freaking 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it was forever. But there's like these musicians who like they're basically all out of Nashville or whatever, and they all go and tour the camps during the summers so that they
Oh,
can share their music and stuff. Some like decent like little kind of C-rated musicians now or
yeah.
bands. Um, but yeah, he's one of them. That's his lore. He
I
used to play
think
at camps.
I read somewhere it was like, what have you done for a paycheck so that you can keep doing the job that you love? It must have been on Reddit. It had to have been based on the way I just said that. It had to have been on there. But the very top comment was pretended to be Christian so I could keep making music.
That
And like
sounds
and
about
like
right.
that had so much on it where it was like, this is just the way that I can continue to make music while still making my other music. But there's just this built-in audience for it. You can make pretty decent money doing it. You can still travel. And like, are you necessarily as engaged with it? Like, it's not like you're out here as like a Satanist pretending or anything, but like there's a degree of it still being an act,
Oh yeah.
right? There was I remember seeing a lot of people on there that were like, yeah, no, it's a really solid way to make an income with music that doesn't take up all your time either. You just have to really keep your world separate depending on what you actually want to make.
Hmm. Yeah, but the consequence tied to that is like he did this thing that was kind of silly and kind of cringe, and
Yep.
then he kept playing along with it. Like he fed
Yeah.
into it, and the consequence of that was, now he's getting a lot of positive attention. Now that people
Yeah.
can hear like the professional studio version of the song is like, oh wait, I think I kind of like this. I think I kind of vibe with this. Everyone was comparing him to Kyle Gordon, and Kyle Gordon got in on the joke. And then
And
Anthony
yeah, they did a post
Fantano
together.
made fun
That's
of
what I was
it.
gonna
Yeah,
say.
and now Anthony Fantano went back and like made something with him, and it's like he's turned this negative attention into
Uh-huh.
like eyes toward him because he had this like I
Oh,
don't know, I don't want to say
I like
positive
what you said.
attitude about it, but playful
Yeah,
attitude maybe. Like he's
right.
not taking himself
He's
too
doing all the
seriously.
things that Sanjaya didn't do during season 2 of American Idol.
I did not watch
But
season 2 of American
oh my
Idol.
god, it was one of the early ones. Do you remember the website Vote for the Worst? You ever hear about that?
No, what?
When American Idol first came out, this website was created and it blew up. And it was called Vote for the Worst. And the idea was that once you got to the stages where people could vote for like whatever who you wanted to keep on, Vote for the Worst would choose who they believed to be the worst possible contestant and then tell everybody on their site that got serious traction to just keep on voting for this person. The most egregious example was this kid named Sanjaya who had applied with like his sister, I think, and his sister was pretty talented, but he somehow got himself to the live shows. And then Vote for the Worst was like, Sanjaya is in. And this kid steamrolled through the top 10. Like, I think he might have made it to like the top 5. And every time Simon Cowell was like, what the fuck? Like,
Why are
how
we?
he's beating out really talented people at this time, right? Where American Idol was
Between Molly
priding
leaving and
itself on
mom's
being,
osteoporosis.
what was that?
I'm looking up his audition.
Oh, it's pretty tough how he continues to get through. Like, you want to see him on the live show.
Like tough in the cool way, right?
Yeah,
Like it
he has
rhymes
nice
with
hair.
rug.
His hair is really nice.
His hair does look really nice. Let's watch this together.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm excited that we're doing this. This is a nice palate cleanser.
Palate
Oh,
cleanser.
really?
I barely know her.
Hey,
Why is it not sharing? Okay,
I
there
don't
we
know.
go.
Oh,
How long is this audition? I wonder. Wait, stream failed
I
to
don't know.
start.
I don't know.
What?
Here's what I'll say: is American Idol was really trying to be a reputable like source of talent, right? And they had a jackpot with Kelly Clarkson. I don't know if Sanjaya was season 1 or not. Does it say? I didn't think he was 1. Um, but he made it way too far. And now, was that a choice that the producers made because it kept people watching it and they didn't give a shit about those kids anyway? So like, whatever. Or was it something that was actually manipulated because those results, I think, have to be legitimate? Like in a show that's for prize money, I don't think you can manipulate who gets kicked off and who doesn't. I don't think you can do that when you're saying it's open to voting publics.
Yes and no. I know for America's Best Dance Crew, they did, but it was more so during the performances, they would
Yeah.
give the ones they wanted to get through like second and third tries to get everything exactly
Who
right.
who was your favorite America's Best Dance crew? I watched every episode of every season
Oh, for
several
real?
times. Yeah, every single one. I loved it. Loved it.
It needs to come back. It needs to come back. Yeah, World
I
of Dance was not good enough.
wait, it wasn't. Say that again.
World of Dance wasn't as good
Oh,
as it. Like there's just the Randy Jackson's America's Best Dance Crew was a gem. We did not deserve
yes.
because it wasn't just like, oh, who's the best dance crew. It was they had challenges and stuff, and it was
Yes.
narrative and story arcs and stuff. It wasn't just a talent show. It was television, and it's so good. Okay, so besides like the freaking seventh season or something, like the last one before the comeback.
Yep.
My favorite ones
Ever.
ever is Quest Crew. Like I still follow all those guys. Whoa.
They were I liked so Quest Crew, they were the ones that had some of the kids from Kaba Modern and from Jabberwockies, correct?
They
Because they had Hawk, like Hawk was on there.
yeah, Hawk was on there.
I liked his haircut all the time.
He's still rocking that.
They won that season by a lot, didn't
They
they?
and the comeback season, they were the crew that I was talking about. The producers gave them like second and third chances to get it right
Yeah,
because they're like,
yeah, because
we're
they
gonna
were
get
so
these
good.
guys.
Because remember, I'm sure you do, but like, didn't Super Crew win too? And they were just like, we're all independently extremely talented.
Oh,
So like,
Super Crew. Super Crew is so crazy good. It's got so many phenomenal. Like they just got. They're like. So there's these yearly annual competitions called the Red Bull BC One, and it's
Yep.
like the world's best break dancers. They just got everyone who got made it to the finals and like was like, let's be a dance crew. It's so good. I love Super Crew. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe we're having this conversation right now.
I could talk about it. I could talk about it a lot. Because sorry, I want to get the lyric right. On my favorite on my favorite Lil Wayne album, No Ceilings, okay? He has that song called Watch My Shoes. And on it, and I don't this isn't why they're my favorite, but he has that line where he says, so oh god, how'd it go? I got my guns, let's dance like fanny pack. And he's talking about America's Best Dance Crew. He references fanny pack specifically. I thought that fanny
Oh,
pack was my favorite.
Fanny Pack. That's Slops. Yeah. Yeah.
Fanny pack had no business getting on that show to begin with. Whoever said, yeah, you guys could join this because they kicked ass. I loved Fanny Pack. Loved them. And they won, right? They won.
I can't remember. Oh, I'm wrong. It's not. I'm not thinking Fanny Pack. I'm thinking of someone else. I can't remember.
Because I think so I know, so Jabberwockies won,
Uh huh.
and then it
Um,
was, oh
let's
God.
let's just look it up.
Okay, well, let's see how many of these we can get because Super
Okay.
Crew won. Super Crew won. They beat Kaba Modern, or sorry, Jabberwockies won. They beat Kaba Modern.
Mm-hmm.
That was a coin flip, but Jabberwockies had cooler masks, so they got away with more.
Yep.
I know that Super Crew
Super
won.
Crew won.
I know the one
The
that was just
girls.
the girls.
Yes.
They had a name like I am something or like we are.
Oh, it's not like we are.
We are heroes.
It
Something
is
about
We Are
heroes.
Heroes. Okay.
Or hero something with heroes.
I think it is We Are Heroes. Yeah.
Okay. Super Crew won.
Uh-huh.
Quest Crew won.
Quest Crew won.
I feel like we're missing the second season.
Can't remember. I know I Am Me is the last one to win, and then Quest Crew again. Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Winners of ABDC. Oh, Poriotics. How do I forget Poriotics?
Oh, God, so much so much tutting.
Poriotics was the recycled Jabberwockies, I think.
Gotcha.
They had some of them who did it again. Yeah, We Are Heroes, Super Crew. We forgot Electrolytes.
God, I forgot all about them. I don't know that I was maybe as engaged in 7.
I was not.
Um,
Crazy.
this was a really fun thing to talk about. I Am Me, that was their name.
I Am Me, which has some really phenomenal dancers on it. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of they're the Jackson Pollock of America's Best Dance Crew.
Okay.
Okay, it's like
Way to
super
bring it full
high.
circle.
Yeah, that's what I do. It's like high in art, like in like postmodern. Like, hey, let's do this creative thing, but the execution doesn't feel like dance necessarily all the time. Like, it's not necessarily, we're dancing to a rhythm. It's like we're making shapes, and
Yes.
uh,
I God, I
like it's got
remember.
Philip Shabib, who is such a phenomenal choreographer. It's got D Moon Jang or whatever, who is also like a phenomenal choreographer. All these guys. Yaya is like still dancing. She's still big in like the popping scene.
Uh-huh. Oh
Um,
God, I forgot. Man, these names are really cutting deep.
right?
Here's where this has been on my mind. Do you listen to Sirius XM at all on any of your drives?
No, I don't.
Oh, the girl who runs the Call Me Daddy podcast or whatever her name is, Alex. I can't think of her name.
I know what you're talking
But
about. Yeah.
she has channel 3 now on Sirius XM. It's called
Oh,
Unwell Music. It is just bangers. Like
really?
it's one of the best stations possible. I hope they never get rid of it, even though I think it's seasonal. But anyway, in her grand selection of bangers, Lil Mama came on, and it was like, man, Lip Gloss is a hard song. That beat
So
is
good.
it's really, really good. How she got on there with dumbass Shane Sparks, and then poor JC's Chazé, who again has to work with idiots because he should have been the lead. He should have been the most famous one in NSYNC, and he wasn't. But he was the most talented. And then he's on this show, and it's like, man, you're better than this show, JC. Like you really are.
I think he was perfect for that show.
He carried that. I don't know when that dude did a 3 minute head spin.
Which one? I know Questcre
At the
did.
end of the Jabberwockies one where he just never
Oh, yeah.
where he just like really went for a very long time and Lil Mama was like, he just did a 3 minute head spin. And it was like 30 seconds, but it was still really cool.
Oh, we used to have culture in America.
Yeah, right. I was watching those like, man, I am so proud of really what is mostly just Southern California. Like you're all just people that like go to Berkeley.
Oh man, how did it? If it was on a like a non-network show, like non-cable access show, I bet we would still have episodes. It had to be on
Well,
MTV.
I just don't think there's enough people that want to be in dance. Like, I just don't think there's enough dance crews. Like, if it was just America's Best, they had the dancing
Yeah,
show for individuals,
they
right?
had World of Dance and they had different categories for it, but it wasn't as good.
But not that they had the show. They had the one with the
Oh,
dancer, the one that
like
Twitch was on.
so you think you can dance?
Thank you.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
what they should have
still
had.
not as good.
They should have had a show where you had to go one on one and you had to try to dance better than Moose from Step Up. And if you could outdance Moose, then you won the whole show, and he never would have lost, and I would have watched it every week.
The World versus Moose.
Can you do some like Moose dancing in the rain choreo, please? Because that scene is out. That's cinema. You
Is
want to
it?
talk about cinema?
Is it really?
He
Like,
stepped
look,
up to.
I know
If he didn't step to those streets, who would have? Who would have? No fucking no one.
no one.
Those streets would have won, but he stepped up to them.
He is only in like 3 movies.
He steals everything that he's in. He's so much better than everyone else in those movies.
Yeah.
Moose carried Step Up.
Did he carry Step Up? I'll agree with
I'm
that.
not
I'll
asking.
concede to that point.
All right. I'm glad we got to talk about that.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's 9:44.
There are no consequences to Moose appreciation.
Moose Appreciation Month, everyone.
There it is. Next week we are going to do C is for cheating.
C is for cheating.
Yeah.
I feel like that would.
Yep.
Why?
I don't know, because it was the one thing we didn't talk about on my note card.
Oh, we can do that. C is for cheating.
Because I have a follow up to like the goals thing that I want to talk about, because I have a goal for myself, but I don't know if I'm strong enough to implement it.
Okay.
So that's my
freaking
teaser.
Kylo Ren over here. Oh, you don't watch Star
I've never-
Wars? Oh my God. Goodbye.